Hello.
Hello. Hello. How you doing today?
I've been so thirsty today. I'm good. That's the answer. I've been so thirsty today. It's not really an answer to how are you, but I'm good. And I've been drinking a lot of water.
Good.
Okay. So
Excellent.
how are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right. We were just we're trying out a new feature here. For those of you not watching us, we are using a new recording program and playing around with it and learning how it works. So we were just chatting about that, but it's been a weird day. We had family pictures today and we were doing some marketing pictures and stuff too. And then of course because I'm me, I tried to cram everything into one photo shoot. And I don't know how many of you have ever been around a 3-year-old, but they're just not helpful in general in life at all.
Yeah.
And if you want them to be cute and smile for a picture, it's just not going to happen. And especially when your child is exactly like you, then it's really not going to happen. So it was interesting. The photo shoot was a little bit a lot of bit stressful. And I kept having to breathe, but luckily our photographer Cass, she has Saunders Sweet Photography in Door County. If you ever need a photographer in Wisconsin, check her out. And she's amazing and super chill and calm, and she got Taurus moon, so she's super just chillaxed in the moon emotions department. And she's a Capricorn sun with a Mercury in Sagittarius, so she's super like, it's okay, no worries, let's just try this, let's just do this. Real problem, like solution oriented, right? Here's the problem, no worries, let's just switch over here and do these pictures instead. And oh gosh, she just takes the stress right out of me and just like throws it in the trash for me. It's so lovely.
Amazing. Where it belongs.
Where it belongs. And she's like, no stress. No, this is great. You're good. Everything's good. So I left her a great Google review because I so respect people who can take a family of 7 and make them look adorable in photography, really. So we did that today, and then we went out to lunch. And, taking a family of 7 out to lunch who has food allergies and all that is just really fun in general. Oh, so I was really happy to get home and record this episode with you because we did the out there thing. We went and did out stuff, out with humans in the public world. And that's really stressful when you have 5 kids. It just is. I don't care if they're sweet, loving, kind, wonderful kids. It's stressful to take 5 kids into public and to do photos and all of that. But man, we did it. And look we survived.
Well done.
Yay.
Yeah.
Now we have good marketing photos, and we did bakery photos for my husband's bakery. And I'm sure there's going to be adorable ones of like the baby eating a cookie with his little Aquarian bakery shirt on. Oh, it's going to be so cute. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm excited to see what's coming up for April, though. I have not looked at any of the transits. Have you?
Well, I knew a couple of things coming up. Like I know we have the solar eclipse. I know we have Mercury retrograde. I know we have Jupiter conjunct Uranus.
You know more than me about this.
Other than that, I have not looked at the transits until now.
Well, let's dive in. Yeah, because we realized very late in the game that March was ending.
Yeah. Running out of days in this month.
We were like, hey, it's April. We should do the thing.
I don't remember them all. But the point is that you need to look over everything twice. Like Mercury looks like it's going backwards. It's not really going backwards, but it looks like it. And we sort of need to do the same thing, like take a few steps back and go over what we are doing right now. Like take a step back, and like, oh, hang on. Okay. And I need to look at that thing again before I go ahead and do it.
And this is happening in the sign of Aries. So we have an Aries Mercury. Well, anything with Aries is going to be fast. It's going to be exuberant. It's going to be very boisterous. I'm just thinking of all the words my childhood people described me. But this is not necessarily as Mercury's been going through Aries, this is not an energy where we think first. It's really very much like act first and then think. So I love that it's going retrograde, so we can take a moment to go, wait a minute, let's think about what we did 2 weeks ago. Okay, was that the right decision? Did we want to go into business with this person, or do we want to maybe not purchase that thing right now? Right? It's just stop and think for 1 minute before taking action.
Yeah. Because this is, and I'm thinking now with the layer of Mercury being in Aries, and with Mercury being in retrograde, like we now, you guys listening, and you and me, Laura, we know that, okay, it's time to slow down. It's not a time to, we need to try and slow down our thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
But people who are not aware of this, I think there's going to be a lot of miscommunications, or there is usually around this time, miscommunications with Mercury retrograde. And Mercury being in Aries, it's going to be a lot of things being said that are not really what they were meant to be.
Yeah. Came out the wrong way.
Yeah, things coming out the wrong way, because Aries just shoots things out of the mouth, and Mercury retrograde, it's not really the communication that was supposed to come out.
This is classic foot in mouth situation. Whoops. Didn't think before I let that fly out. And I'm sorry I said that. That was really rude. And I really didn't mean it that way. I'm feeling those conversations will be happening a lot in my house.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to maybe rewind and like say that differently? Because that sounded kind of like an asshat thing to say. That's frequently a conversation we have here, especially during Mercury retrogrades. Like, just go ahead and turn yourself right around, go back down the hallway, think, and then come back out and maybe say that totally different. Thanks so much. So we do this a lot. We call this rewind in our house when we're working with kids, or even my husband and I. If we come out of the bedroom or come into a room and we are suddenly demanding or interrupting or whatever Aries does, which demanding and interrupting are both classic Aries traits. If we do those things, we have practiced with our older kids to rewind. And now we're starting this with Saffron too, where you go, hang on, let's just rewind. Just like you have a remote control and you hit the button and you just go backwards a couple seconds. Okay. Maybe take 2, try that again. And they get to come back in. We don't necessarily need to address it or be like, why'd you say it like that? We just go, I don't think you actually meant it to come out that way. How about you just start again? And that takes a lot of the shame and blame off of the whole situation. It takes the blame off of people doing stuff wrong or me shaming them or anything like that. We just say, hang on, that didn't feel real good. How about you rewind and try that again? So I love that the universe gives us rewind times. It's like the universe going, hang on, rewind. You didn't, no, go back and fix that shit. No.
Yeah.
I didn't do that right. Try it again. So we get a higher power to help us with our rewind.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And don't be surprised if like your train is running late or not shows up at all. You have internet struggles. You forget things. You thought you had a meeting at 1, it was actually at 10, and you weren't there. And
this all happened to me today.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like all of the things you just mentioned all happened today with the photos
We're
running
already
longer, missing appointments. It's interesting. I'm doing my dad's doing a conference the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, I believe, in a big town in Wisconsin here. And he asked me to come and be a speaker for creating harmony in the workplace. And so this isn't my typical crowd that I talk to, but I am entertaining when I speak. And I definitely know how to help create harmony in a time of chaos. So we're doing this kind of conference, but we're also having like a little vacation too. And I think this is so important for me to know that A, Mercury's in the sign of play, right? Fun and play is Aries. B, it is retrograde while we're doing this. So I should just expect things to go a little bit sideways, a little bit wonky. And if they don't, just be excited that they didn't, right? But just expect something to go some sort of way that isn't the way we had planned. And be ready to just slide with that or work with that however we need to. So
that's the thing. That's the best thing that you always say, that these things, like, things will not be exactly as you plan it during these times, and the very best thing is to just be flexible. Like, just be, the last couple of times during Mercury retrograde, I've been like that because I'm expecting things to not really go as planned. And so then when it happens, you're like, okay, that was the thing, or like that was a thing. There might be another thing soon, but like that was one of those things. Okay.
It's like working with 3-year-olds. Work with the 3-year-old. Just know that it's going to be chaos and they're going to say no to everything. Okay, cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's the first. And that lasts for a little while, most of April. We've got on the 3rd, Venus is going to come into alignment with our nebulous and spiritual friend, Neptune. And this is happening in Pisces, at the end of Pisces here. So Venus and Neptune, I love both of these energies together. And it's such a beautiful, creative energy to just lean into the flow of life and really tap into that value space, right? We've got Venus with values and Neptune with kind of tuning in to a higher frequency and tuning into the right frequency for you and the right vibration for you. And Venus is really going, hey, what do you value? What do you care for? How do you want to spend your energy, your time, your money, your love? What are the things that are real important to you? And when these two line up in Pisces, this just feels like surrendering on the lazy river and just flowing with whichever twists and turns it takes you. Maybe water falls on you. Maybe you get sprayed from the side, but that's okay. Just keep flowing down the river. We're going to do some healing probably too on the 3rd. A little bit of crying, maybe some sadness might come through this day too. I don't know. How are you seeing this one? It's so nebulous.
It's so nebulous, always with Neptune. And I think this feels like just a really, like, a potential for a really, really nice outcome. That, like, Neptune is all about, I feel like whenever Neptune is there, you need to observe, like relax and like listen to yourself, because it is that connection to your intuition. And then we have Venus, which is all of our values and also relationships. So this might be a great day to sit down with family or partners and like just be having conversations that are important, or just be. I think a lot of whatever you do with the people that you love around this day, things are gonna come up, like, and it will be a nice soft way to go around maybe subjects that you haven't been able to touch on before. But this will really help that, like the softness and roundness of Neptune and Venus.
I love that, having conversations with family that maybe didn't come up before, or subjects that are maybe a little bit bristly. Maybe now there's going to be some softness where you could bring up the uncomfortable and you could really lean into that flow and that feelings. And, sometimes with the older generation or a generation that's different than you, they tend to hold in family secrets and things like this. I could see how these two planets lining up in Pisces could really be a day where it may be a time to bring some of those family secrets out and really discuss them, or bring up like, hey, what was it like for you as a child of, an alcoholic, or, what was it? I know you didn't have a good childhood, but like, what did that look like? Could you share a little bit? Right. Some of these things that we've suppressed need to come forward and really be let out. But Venus is such a soft place to land. So I feel like when you're chatting with your family or your loved ones or whoever around the second, third, or fourth, this might be a really good time to kind of tease those secrets out, to really do some healing that you know needs to be done, but you don't necessarily know consciously. Interesting way to start the month there.
Yeah.
What we got next?
Then on the 5th, Venus is entering Aries. So Venus is going from Pisces, the water sign, the sign of forgiveness and eternal love, to Aries, the fire queen. Yeah.
Let's go. Where are we going? What are we doing? Let's take action. What are we going to play? Let's play. You want to play? Let's go play something. Oh, I'm bored with this. Let's do something else.
Yeah. And we already have the Sun and Mercury here. So now, because we've had a lot of, and we still do it when we're recording this, a lot of Pisces energy, 4 planets in Pisces. But when Venus goes over to Aries, now we have 3 planets in Aries, 3 planets in Pisces. So we're getting more fire.
A little bit more balanced out with the energies. It's going to feel good to play when Venus goes into Aries. Right now, it doesn't feel good to play, to me anyway. I still feel that hard energy with Saturn and Mars, both in Pisces. Neptune at the end, kind of confusing everything and still affecting me personally with my natal Mercury there. So I still don't feel like we got into Aries, even though we've been in it for a while.
Know.
It's my birthday tomorrow. Like, I don't know why I'm not feeling Aries. And I'm like, oh, I think it's because there's freaking 4 planets hanging out in Cloudyville right here. And the sun isn't quite shining through yet. But I think once Venus comes over and there's some more balance, that's going to, at least for me personally, I feel like it's going to help the sun kind of crack through the fog. And it will feel like I can finally play now. Like now I value play, right? Because the value planet is still over here in nebulous, artsy, healing, music, sleep, dream, woo, compassion, go take a bath, go take a nap, right? Like it's not necessarily, let's go, let's play, until it gets into Aries on the 5th. And that to me feels like, okay, all right, now we can go to the water park.
Here we go.
Which is where we'll be at. We'll be at a water park. So I'm excited about that. That'll be good. Nice times. So we'll have Venus enter Aries on the 5th. And this is really valuing that play, that go, that drive, that leadership stuff. If you've been wanting to take action on something and you've known that maybe you need to be a leader about it or be the leader to at least get it started, this is a great time to do it. This is when Venus, what we value, really helps push us into that. Let's do it anyway. Okay, I know we don't have all of the business plan finished, but we have this guy who wants to invest and we've got this. And okay, I think we got enough. We got 90% done. Let's just do it, right? Whatever it is that you're wanting to do, Venus will help be that little kind of Kickstarter into the go juice. Then once, of course, Mars gets over there, it'll feel much, much, much better.
Oh yeah. And that's happening soon too.
I'm excited. So we got the first a Mercury retrograde with Mercury in Aries. And then the 3rd, Venus is conjunct Neptune at the end of Pisces. The 5th, Venus enters into Aries. And then the 6th and 7th, we got Venus again. And this time she's having a conversation with Pluto in a sextile, which is that's 60 degrees, right? So that's a 60 degree, I think, or is it? I think it's 60 degree placement. Now I'm doing my math. My geometry.
No. Don't talk to me about numbers. It's a sextile. I don't think it's 60 degrees, but don't call me a number. Any number.
Now I need to go look. I want to go look because I know.
It's like 20 degrees. Like it's a 60 degrees would be like a big angle, no?
I think it's
would be 30 degrees.
Maybe it's a 30.
No, this is 45 degrees. So it would be half of
90.
No, sorry.
My favorite.
It's not that many degrees, I think.
I'm looking right now. It is 60. Yeah.
Ooh.
This aspect occurs between planets approximately 2 signs apart or 60 degrees. Yes. Either way, whatever the number is, a sextile is an energy that is super easy. These planets have a lovely conversation. It's like going to a party, not knowing anybody there, but then running in to somebody that you worked with for 10 years and you get along with really well. And you're like, oh, Sherry's here. And then you and Sherry just hit it off and you're just all night, right? Easy flowing conversation. And Venus is all about our values. And Pluto is all about what do we need to transform? What needs to be let go so that a new part of us can be reborn? So we're going to be taking a look at values on the 6th and 7th. And
then we have a total solar eclipse in Aries. And this is an interesting one because
it's a big deal.
It is a huge deal. Yeah. We and I'm not an expert in eclipses. So we are right now in the middle of the lunar eclipse that we had on the 25th. And then this solar eclipse is coming up on the 8th. And just to clarify, for those who don't know, a solar eclipse, it's always a new moon. Because it's when it's a new moon, and a lunar eclipse is when it's a full moon. And a solar eclipse occurs when the moon is between the Earth and the sun. So the moon will go in front of the sun to sort of block out the light, so that it will be, and this time it will be a total solar eclipse. So from some places of this planet, you will be able to see that the moon totally blocking the sun. I don't know exactly from where, but that's very cool.
We will be in Wisconsin. We will be able to see a good portion of it.
Oh, cool.
I want to say it goes through the center of North America here, like Texas and Ohio and New York. It's kind of like that strip along there, but we'll be able to see a good chunk of it where we are.
That's really cool. And so eclipse season is a very, very potent energy, very active energy time of the year. And this has already started with a lunar eclipse a week ago. And the lunar eclipse, which is the full moon, this is about letting go energy. So you're shedding a lot. And we're still in that shedding period right now as we speak. And tomorrow, when you guys will listen to this, maybe, up until, and we're going to be shedding. And eclipses are also like a lunar eclipse, like the one we had. It's like a full moon on steroids. It's so it was not a normal full moon. It was a eclipse, a big one. So there's big feelings, a lot of shedding, a lot of letting go of stuff, because when we now have this solar eclipse, a new moon in Aries, it will be so much about starting new things. Like, it's a new moon, it's a solar eclipse, it's an Aries.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I feel like it's going to be a really powerful energy, specifically for those cardinal signs, right? Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. Right. Those people, and it'll be at around 19 degrees is when, 19 degrees is when it's happening. So anybody who's got planets in Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, in that kind of 14 to 24, 15 to 25 range, you're going to be really feeling this tremendously yourself, very personally. So many big, profound changes. And I know this is going to affect politics big time. And I know in America, we got some stuff going on, especially it being a presidential year, and the Supreme Court is again voting on something now for like an abortion medication that they're going to be ruling against or for. I don't even know. I just read about it this morning and my brain just kind of shut off because I was like, whoo, like I know things are going to get worse before they get better, or things have to collapse before they can reemerge. Very Plutonian, right? But it's so crazy to be living in the collapse. I just want to go back to like the fall of Rome and be like, hey, what was that like to live through that? What did it feel like when the government was falling apart? what was that experience like? Because I'm pretty sure it's similar to right now. So I'm so curious to see what this Aries energy does with this solar eclipse, excuse me, and how this affects us with our politics and all of the aggression that's building up inside.
Yeah.
So curious. Is there anything going on political by you guys? Is there any upheavals?
I feel like there is. I feel like there's lately there's just this sort of like uptick all the time, like a slow uptick with just activity and like absurdities, like things become more and more absurd. But yeah, for sure, this is global energies, and eclipses happen around 6 months apart, sort of, and they usually have to do with each other. So the last eclipse that we had, do you remember when it started?
Yes and no. I don't know the date, but it was
well, actually now I don't know the date either. It was either on the 6th or the 8th of October.
Okay.
So it was either the day before or the day after the 7th of October. So I think that we're going to see a lot of things happening geopolitically with that what started on October 7th.
Isn't that when the first Israel stuff started? Exactly.
Yeah. And now there's just crazy news from that part of the world all the time. But I feel like I'm just really hoping for some sort of good news to be coming soon.
It feels very
That's
disheartening.
What happened the last time.
Yeah, it feels very disheartening. Like there's not much we can do. There's so much stress and so much tension and so much political red tape.
Yeah,
and it's so frustrating on so many levels. And we've been learning a lot about it here, just in general, for our homeschool and stuff, for our current events classes and stuff that we do here, and we try to keep up with kind of what's going on in the world. But it's hard to explain. My husband and I were talking about it with our older kids. There has been so much strife in this part of the world and in Israel and Gaza Strip for so many millennia that it's hard to unravel it all, right? Like they just it kind of all overlaps itself. It's almost like these traumas on top of traumas on top of traumas, and that whole region is just energetically traumified. I think I made up a new word, but it's really hard to unpack it all, because we were reading, it goes back decades and decades and decades and decades and decades, just this
hundreds of years,
just this particular conflict. Exactly. And then that conflict came from conflict before that. I'm so curious about that part of the world. The energetics there just feels so chaotic and so stress filled.
Well, I think there is something, I feel like there is something in Palestine, like in the land of Palestine, which is super magical, and there's some kind of energy there that people wants to get at. And
there's
obviously, what we're seeing now is that it seems to be a lot of oil that a lot of countries want to have a piece of, and that might be the reason why a lot of things are happening. Also, like follow the money,
Right. Exactly. So I'm very curious what this solar eclipse in Aries does, because I think it's going to really shake some stuff up, and hopefully shake it up so that it leads to some kind of conflict resolution.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some kind of conflict resolution. Right. But I don't know, because then we've got the 9th and 10th, the day after the solar eclipse, Mars and Saturn decide to merge up in Pisces.
Yeah, so this is going to be like a very, very, very active few days for the whole world. Like for us, like everyone will be affected. Yeah. The solar eclipse, and the day after, Mars conjunct Saturn, like the planet of action conjunct the planet of maturing.
Yeah.
Okay, growth. So we're going to super grow.
Honestly, we have to grow up and do this. And then, Saturn really gets deep into the foundational stuff. So maybe we need to really look at the foundation and the structural issues of what's going on and why we are dealing with what we're dealing with and what we need to take a look at on a foundational level before we take action and keep building whatever we're building. Let's go back and look and make sure the foundation is good. Make sure we didn't get shoddy pieces or parts or hire a crappy contractor or whatever, right? And these are all metaphors, or they could be real. But, make sure you're really taking time in your life, because Saturn rules time and he wants you to get it right. Do it right the first damn time. Saturn and Capricorn energy, man, I have never met people more opposed to redoing a project than people with Capricorn or intense Saturn energy. They freaking hate it. They hate redoing something, like at their core. And Saturn and Mars can get along if Mars can do things right the first time.
Yeah.
But Mars doesn't always want to take the time to do it right the first time. He wants to just hurry up and get it done. This is like a conflict of me and my husband is what is happening on this day. This is Philip and Laura right here. Laura just wants to hurry up and get it done. And Saturn's going, no, you need to follow the instructions. No, you can't just willy-nilly put the thing together. You got to do it right.
Yeah. But I also see it as something like we could have like a brutal karmic lesson, like brutal coming from Mars and karmic lesson coming from Saturn. So either, like in a harsh way, like tough love from the universe, like this is a lesson, well, that's sort of like, maybe the only way of seeing it, actually.
That's kind of it. Yeah, I think this is, again, Saturn doesn't want to do things twice or do things, and have Mars screw it up. So that's that brutal lesson of you need to drive the speed limit. You need to build the thing properly with the instructions, or you're going to get in trouble. Right? Like Saturn doesn't screw around, you guys. He does not give warnings very often. Typically, you just get a speeding ticket, quote unquote, metaphorically, and you get your license taken away, right? He doesn't screw around. Just go directly to jail. Saturn says, no, you can't be an idiot. You have to do your job. So this is also where Saturn, if you are being mature and you are doing the things properly, he can help you with that sustained effort. Right? So this could be where you really get this effort and motivation to finish something up. Maybe it's a project that has just been lingering, or a job or a deadline or something that's just been lingering and driving you nuts. This is the 2 days where you would really want to get it done. Get it done and finish it. And you've got the effort of Saturn and the sustainability of Saturn with the drive and desire of Mars, both activated. But this is in Pisces. So that's weird.
Yeah. The sign of empathy. Interesting. And art. And this is the 9th, 10th, and 11th.
So I'm so curious, you guys, if you're listening and you write this in your calendar on the 9th, 10th, and 11th, that these two planets are conjunct. I'm so curious to hear what happens for you guys. Let us know. Either shoot us an email or comment or whatever. Let us know what goes on for you these days. I want to see how this plays out for other people. I'm so curious. All right. April 11th. This is my baby's birthday. Mars is still conjunct Saturn. So my baby will turn a year, and his solar return will have Mars conjunct Saturn. This makes sense for a 1-year-old solar return. He gets to learn how to work hard on being able to move. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Yep.
And we have something else here too. We have Sun conjunct Mercury on this day. Yeah. So that's also going to be in his solar return chart.
So he will identify a lot more with speaking and communicating, which totally makes sense again for a little baby turning 1, learning how to and talk and say mama and use all of his vocal range, even in restaurants. That's fun.
Yeah.
I like that. No, I don't. I was nursing him at the restaurant today, and he was mad that I don't know if my milk wasn't coming out fast enough, or I don't know why he was mad. He's an Aries, who knows? And he just came off my boob and started screeching like a pterodactyl, and he got stepped on or something. I don't know. It was awful. And it happened instantaneously, and there's no warning. No, like, hey mama, I'm going to screech now. And he did it, and it scared me, and I jumped, and I looked around. Everybody's head in the whole restaurant all turned and looked, because it was so shrieking. I don't know. It sounded like he got hurt, or like if you step on a cat.
Yeah.
That's what but like 80 decibels louder and way more shrill. That's how it sounded. It was fun. I look forward to his Sun conjunct Mercury all year round. I'm so excited about this.
Because natally he has Sun and Moon in Aries.
He has Sun in Aries on Jupiter and Moon in Sag, but he has his Mercury in the first house. So he's already got a lot of drive to speak. And it's coming out of him real well. So now on his 1-year birthday, yay, we get to shine the light on his information obtaining energy. And you guys get to experience this too. This is a transit we all go through. So the Sun and Mercury together is like lighting up your brain space to be able to communicate effectively, to be able to tell people the things you need to say, maybe the stuff you've been holding in, and also to shine a light on your intellectual pursuits. What do you want to learn? What do you want to do with your mind?
Yeah, and it's interesting because this is Mercury now moving backwards. Mercury is retrograding back over the Sun. So it's like going back to your identity and your core, shining, the Sun shining on Mercury in retrograde, going, thinking about, what was that thing that I felt so aligned with? Let me think back to that again. Like maybe I can shed back a layer. Like, when we just go about things and we sometimes step too many steps away from who we are and our core. But I feel like this will be a reminder of going back and like, I remember who I am.
I love that. That feels good. And this is Aries. So you guys, when was the last time you played? Like really played? Like played doing the things that make you happy, right? So playfulness. When was the last time your mind was happy and stimulated by play? That's what we want to be doing on the 11th. Oh, that feels so good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Then we have a couple days of a rest.
We do, and we need it.
Take a breath. The 12th, 13th, 14th are like, okay, let's just integrate all that. Let's take a breath. Maybe take a shower and a nap. And now the 15th, Jupiter. I don't know what I think about this transit, Helena.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Like this is one that astrologers have been talking about this one for a while.
This is the big one. Jupiter and Uranus are coming together to meet up. So if you or anyone you know is having a baby during the 15th to the 26th, their child is going to be really expansive in their weirdness. All right? Just so you know. And they're going to be expansively independent and rebellious. So wish them well and get them proper baby gifts. Okay. So this is good. I just keep thinking about little kids born with these transits, right? In like 3 years from now, like wishing their parents all the best. Like I send in you guys peace and love. Come join the Cosmic Mama Collective. Oh shit, you're gonna need it. Jupiter conjunct Uranus. Man, this is one we've been watching for a while. And Jupiter takes 12 years to go around the zodiac. And 12 years ago, Uranus was not in Taurus. So this is the first time these two are having a connection here. For this long, this big, this everything in Taurus, which is food, foundational needs, our foundational everything's, our values, our home, our structure. Now, I just found out, so I don't know if you saw, but a big major bridge just got taken out by a shipping container in Baltimore, in Maryland. Huge, like one of our biggest ports, seaports in America. And I saw a guy on Instagram was asked AI, he asked like Google's AI program, what the repercussions of this bridge going down are going to be. Oh, was that an interesting Instagram video? There's a lot of tunnels in that area, and most of the big equipment that come off of these cargo ships is like tractors and stuff. This is where a lot of the huge transportation items get into America. So tractors and bulldozers and just all of the big machinery. And those big machineries that we have sent over can't go through tunnels. They don't fit. So this bridge was the option. Now that bridge is not obviously an option for a very long time. So this is going to cause all kinds of massive rerouting issues and all kinds of literally transportation issues. Hello, Mercury retrograde, April 1st, right? So we've got transportation issues, and we've got, again, things affecting our food supply, right? Yes. This is a big major port with a lot of stuff that comes in for the agriculture industries. Not sure how this is going to affect us as it trickles down, but it's going to have a trickle down effect. I also saw this was where we get most of our diesel fuel that comes into the country, is this particular port. And so that's going to affect the ability for our farm machinery to get fuel. And again, the cost of food is already sky high. So this could be really interesting, where Jupiter expands the chaos even more. I'd be shocked if we didn't see more prices jumping and more food issues and things like that. We already have food scarcity issues over in Gaza. We've got tons of just major foundational issues across the globe in so many areas. So interested to see what this is going to bring. Now, Jupiter could bring some benevolence here. Maybe. Your face is telling me otherwise.
I don't know about that. I just feel like the track that Uranus has been doing for years now. Hang on.
Since 2018.
Okay. So Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018. And we have seen a lot of, so Uranus is a little chaotic. It really shakes things up. We have seen a lot of sort of chaos around like food safety. People are realizing, have been waking up a lot during this period of time. What is the food that is in the supermarket? All of these things. There's a lot of weird things happening, like printing 3D meats. Like a lot of that has to do with food, but also
that's
safety.
Weird.
Yeah. Also, Taurus rules money, banks, the banking systems. Like everything has been changing so much. Uranus also rules like the internet, like AI stuff.
Yep.
So we have been seeing a lot of new ways to handle money. So just new systems for economy, for safety, for food. And I feel like we're getting closer to the sort of end of Taurus with Uranus, and now Jupiter is joining Uranus here. I just feel like everything that's been going on now is going to get like an even bigger like jolt of energy into that change in structures, change of our values, change of how we see food, how we take care of our planet. Like think about Taurus, everything that Taurus rules. It is the earth. It is,
it's our core
safety.
needs. Taurus is really safety, our core needs, making sure that we have heat and food and water and people safe people around us, and money or something to be able to exchange for those items, right? And if you really think about it, America right now, I saw, if you base the average income off of the housing market, in the 1950s, it was, the average income was equivalent to the housing. And then in the 80s, it was this. Well, right now, the basic median income that people would have to make to be median income to afford an average house right now is $176,000 US. That has to be your annual salary to come in to be in the median category to be able to afford an average home right now. $176,000. That's just based on the housing prices, right?
Oh my God.
So when you think about that and you think about what you just said, safety. My younger brother is 35 and he does statistics for a living. That's what he does, like insurance and stats and stuff. And he said that people under 30 right now, less than 5% of them own a home. Less than 5%, because none of them have the income to show that they can afford a home, even though the homes they are trying to buy are then bought by banks or whoever and companies and then rented to them at more than what the mortgage would be. So if they were to buy it and have a mortgage of 800, they aren't quote unquote allowed to, but the corporation over here can buy the home and then rent it for 1,200 to those same people. Like, this is the chaos that Uranus in Taurus has been causing. This is what's going on since 2018. And of course, we all know in 2020 what happened there, and even more chaos when Saturn went into Aquarius. And then we had those 3 years of chaos.
You mean COVID?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, like, how, like, such a big shock, and the safety ripped, like the mat ripped under our feet for like the whole world. Yeah. And the
whole 3 years that Saturn went through Uranus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I went through Aquarius. Yeah. And then
this is,
it affected Uranus in Taurus, right? So we've got Saturn in Aquarius and then Uranus in Taurus. And those two combos was just the 1-2 punch that led to this pandemic. And now we're all post-pandemic going, what's happening? I don't know. I don't know I don't know.
Yeah. And remember everything all the electricity things, all the gas things that happened
in Europe. Yeah.
A couple of years ago, all of the prices of electricity, Uranus rules electricity. And then we have like the prices, money, that's Taurus. So we have had that like real bad economy for years. There's like several wars sort of looming, I feel like, and going on. So there's really like this shakeup with our safety, like our
100%.
So it's not strange that a lot of people on this planet right now, we are very stressed. We are like, our nervous systems are so stirred and have been for a couple of years. It's this energy, and with Jupiter here, like, it will be that jolt of like something more is going to happen there, but that doesn't have to be bad, like you said, but it doesn't even have to be good either. It just is, it will be more change, I think.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Here's when we really zoom out of what we're living in, right? This 3D reality we're living in. Let's face it, we have been attacking our planet for multiple decades now with a bombardment of chemicals, a bombardment of crazy heavy equipment, a bombardment of genetically modified seeds and engineered pesticides and all of this shit, right? We've been throwing shit at her like that. The plastics, microplastics in everything, right? Earth energy is not real happy right now. And I think that Uranus in Taurus is waking us up to this shit, right?
Yeah.
I follow all kinds of people on Instagram. One of them is called, I think she's called, she was like the garbage girl or something, but she went to school for like recycling garbage energies or something. I don't even know. I didn't know that was a thing. But she now teaches people about all of the climate stuff that's happening that's good, right? Like these people just did this and they're making a pact to change this by this date. And this is how they're doing it. So she gives off this news. And man, some of the stories she shares are inspiring and hopeful. And they make my heart go, oh, okay, we're not going to blow ourselves up, hopefully. Right? It's like, it's that healing of the earth, right? Healing of the earth energy. And I think that's why we're being shaken up. We are poisoning ourselves with all kinds of nasty chemicals in our food, all kinds of food dyes, all kinds of chemicals raising our food. We have to change these ways of functioning. And this, I hope, is what Uranus through Taurus is really teaching us. And now Jupiter coming over the top going, let's create some awareness here, right? Let's bring some shit to the light. I hope to God we have all of a sudden some weird things go through the Supreme Court that suddenly the FDA has to remove all food dyes or something like that. Like that would be shocking and amazing if the American food system would suddenly stop poisoning our kids. What a concept.
That's such a shock.
That's the kind of shit my heart is hoping for.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what's going to happen because it is Taurus. So it may not happen during this transit, but it may happen after, right? It's slow energy. Maybe the spark happens April 15th to the 26th, but we don't see the results of it maybe for a couple months. Oh, so much going on. We could talk about that one forever. We should probably just do a show on that one. Mars sextile Jupiter happens during that time frame. So the 18th to the 20th, we have this benevolent, beautiful energy between this giant planet of Jupiter chatting with Mars, which feels good until you recognize that through some of that time, Mars and Uranus are together.
Exactly.
I mean, Jupiter and Uranus are together, and Mars is going to wake all three of those up. So that should be fun. Yeah. You guys just put on your calendar the 18th to the 20th that there's going to be some activation in expansion and some craziness, some unpredictability. Mars, Jupiter, and Uranus all having conversations. Should be really interesting April. What do you see with that sextile for Mars and Jupiter? How do you think that's going to play out with Taurus and Pisces?
I feel like then whatever will be that jolt of energy into the change in our systems and everything that we're going through as a planet right now, Mars will add the drive. And what I'm hoping, because like you said, Mars is in Pisces, maybe it can, bring in that drive for compassion, drive for humankind, like
softness.
Yeah, energy is just energy. This could be such an amazing thing that everyone, like, there will be such a big change, and we will realize, everyone will be driven to, we have these feelings and the drive to take care of each other, to be just to expand our hearts and like be more compassionate and make it a huge Jupiter change Uranus in our systems, Taurus. But energy is neither good or bad. It can play out in either way. So this could happen.
This could be a good time. While you were talking about and describing those, I could see somebody like, oh, I'm going to take action and gather all these investors, and we're going to create this thing that cleans up the microplastics in the ocean or something, right? Like that could be the drive for compassionate healing with expanding our ideas on how we fix these earthly issues, right?
Yeah.
That very much could be an option. So I love that you just said that energy is energy. It's how we play with it.
Exactly. But what I think will happen is that whatever change is going to happen, I see it like with Mars, I see it like as, laws may be passing through fast. Like change will happen fast.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope it's a law that's something beneficial for people, that, and not for big companies to keep doing shitty stuff.
Yeah. Me too.
Let's all send out our prayers for the plight of the people, and hopefully we can get some changes happening that represent the people's will instead of the small 1% that have a lot of control right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So then on the 19th, we have the sun entering into Taurus, exiting Aries, and now we get to have this identity and the sun shining on more calm, earthy activities, more calm, earthy energy. So I like that. I like Taurus season. It always feels like it's actually springtime. And Aries is great, but it feels more like the chaotic springtime of like, is it muddy? Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is it sunny? I don't know. It can't decide. But then you get into Taurus and you're like, okay. The grass is actually starting to turn green and stay green. Okay. It's more calming.
Yeah, it's more like we're going to start smelling the flowers that are blooming.
Maybe even start playing in the dirt, in the earth, getting your planting stuff out.
Yeah.
So the 19th, we have that shift, but then on the 19th and 20th, Mercury is going to be conjunct with Venus. And so this is happening in Aries, and the Mercury is still retrograde at this point. And it's going to be conjunct Venus and Aries. So our mind, quote unquote, going backwards. So we're still taking a good look at the things that we need to learn about play and action. And now Venus is going to say, okay, and what do you value? What are your values? Maybe we need to think differently about that. We need to change the way we think about our values. And I like that this is happening after the solar eclipse, after the conjunction with Mars or Jupiter and Uranus, and then the sextile with Mars. I like that all of that changey stuff is happening. And then we get to take a look and go, okay, maybe we should just think about our values here. Maybe we have to take a hard look and really change the way we're applying our energy. Aries is action and energy, right? So how are we applying our energy to our values? Like, for example, I was thinking the other day, when my kids are at daycare, I really want to apply my energy well when they're gone, because I want to make sure that when I'm away from them, it's really me having specific valuable time doing whatever I'm doing, whether that's taking time to journal and do my needs, or whether that is doing work, but being very intentional. And I think that's where Mars and Venus, or Mercury and Venus lining up, really help us to be more intentional with our mind and our values together.
I like that. And then we also have Mars sextile Uranus these days. So
on
then
the
Mars
19th and 20th too.
19th and 20th. So Mars will still be talking to the duo of Uranus, who will be affecting Jupiter. Yep. So it will still be that sort of triangle drama.
It is kind of a triangle drama, isn't it? Really, it's for a little, the 18th, 19th, 20, 21. It's kind of those time frames. We really got to be aware of this drama. Really, that's what it is.
Yeah. And then when you see what's happening after, this is like a very transformational month, I feel like, because we had all of these things, and then on the 21st and 22nd, the sun will square Pluto, and this is something that happens twice a year. So every year. So it's not like as huge as Jupiter conjunct Uranus, but it is something that would be felt, because squares are more of that, like that tension energy, and the sun is our identity, and Pluto is power and control a lot, and intensity. So this can definitely be a time when you end up being in a a power struggle.
Yeah,
with someone.
for sure.
Or maybe with yourself.
And this is in 2 fixed signs, Taurus and Aquarius. I'm going to tell you right now, ain't nobody going to win that power struggle. So you got kids this day, 21st and 22nd, just say, never mind, and just don't even try fighting.
Yeah.
Just don't. Walk
Yeah.
away. Not worth it.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to back down. You're not going to back down. Nobody's going to win. It's just it's such stubborn energy with Sun in Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius. I feel like there's just no point in the fight. You have to do that surrender thing, the uncomfortable.
Yeah, this no uncomfortable is really the word for these days. It will feel uncomfortable, and I think that yes, there will be tension. It will be very uncomfortable. But what happens when we're uncomfortable is that we grow, and it's like a knife that you're sharpening. Like we're sharpening a tool in our toolbox with this energy. It will not become. It's not comfortable feeling this power struggle with someone or within yourself, because most of the time you don't know why you're being so stubborn about your ego. Why are you protecting your ego so bad? Why you want to win this fight and have to feel power over a certain person. But it will teach you about yourself. It will teach you about your ego. And squares are about getting the stronger, training your muscles so that they become stronger, like you always say.
Exactly.
So that we more learn how to work the energy of identity and power. Mm-hmm. I mean, this could also be like great to learn how to use your inner power.
Oh,
if you harness that.
I fully recommend the 21st, 22nd of April, really recognizing that this is a day, like you said, you have to work hard on harnessing your power, maybe surrendering to the transformation that needs to take place. And when there is a power struggle, right, there's really this working on something. And there's an ego because the sun, and there's power because there's Pluto, but then there's this transformation thing that has to take place when there is tension. It's working out. When you go to lift a weight that's heavy, you literally tear your muscles. You tear them. And then you get the weight up and you're like, oh, okay. And then you push it back down and you're tearing them more. And then you lift it back up and you're tearing them more. And then you wait. And it's through the transformation process that we really experience that profound growth and go, oh, look I can get strong by pushing myself to the uncomfortable, not over the point of massive uncomfortable where now you fall apart, right? Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be careful. Exactly. But we have to be careful because the next day, the 23rd, we now have a full moon in Scorpio. So again, we got a power thing going on, right?
Intense.
Very intense month in general. I'm just kind of looking at all of this going, yep. Okay. Extreme intensity this month. All right. Like in February, remember when we did that transit reading? We're like, oh, this is nice. Lots of art, lots of this. Yeah, that's not April.
No.
Nope. February felt very like la. I couldn't figure out where I was going or what I was supposed to be doing. I was very confused most of the time in February. This month feels almost like a 180, like not that kind of energy. This feels very like transformation, transformation, transformation. Not in a bad way. It just that's the energetics of it. And that full moon on the 23rd in Scorpio, you guys, Scorpio full moons are no joke.
No, the most emo of them all. Like you will, full moons are all about your emotions, whether you knew you had them or not. They will come out. They're gonna show themselves. You're gonna feel like people don't sleep on these days. Why don't we sleep? Because we get lunatic from the moon being full. Like the moon actually drives us mad, and that's what people thought that it drives mad. But what happens is that we actually get so emotional. We're very emotional under a full moon.
I have a friend, Heather. She was on this show, and she tracks her sleep, and she shows that on the full moons, her sleep is always like super crazy and wonky, and I just find it amusing. Like she's tracks it and is like, look, I'm a grown ass adult. Look what happens.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
It's like, this is also super witchy, like full moon in Scorpio. If you're into like woo stuff, like really into woo stuff, this is a day, woo stuff. If you want to release like even more, Scorpio goes super deep, and full moons are full moons.
All about releasing stuff you don't want, that isn't serving you, shit you're ready to let go of. Like, let it go. It's very, have you seen Encanto?
No.
Oh, you got to watch Encanto. It's very Bruno. There's this song, We Don't Talk About Bruno. And then Bruno is this triplet, one of three. And he kind of comes out from the woodwork and he starts to bring all of this shit from the past and from the deep and brings it all out and just like sings about it. And he's like, let it flow, let it go. And you have to do that. You have to bring it out, let it up, and let it out. And he is very emo too. He lives in the cabinets or the closets with rats. So very scorpionic weirdo, but very much this full moon energy and letting it come up and out of you. And like you said, emo, if you want to stay in your bedroom and hide for a day, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go in your little hidey hole and just journal and eat chocolate. Totally fine with me.
Yeah. The only thing I would say to like watch for a little bit is obsessive behavior from yourself, because Scorpio can get very obsessive, and like you don't need to cut ties to all of your friends because you feel very emotional all of a sudden, and you're so Scorpionic, and you're very dramatic, and you just want to do something dramatic. Like, watch yourself a little bit, because Scorpio can get quite dramatic and obsessive. So feel the balance, you don't go over the top.
Yeah. And this is, I don't know why this is coming up, but if you have a kid, or if you are in a relationship where it's somebody's asking for space, or maybe your kid is in a relationship and they're getting a little bit too clingy, watch them during this full moon, or watch, be careful yourself, whatever the situation is. This is where people can get stalker-ish kind of energy. Like, this is where this stuff can come up from. All of a sudden, they just decide to do something weird where they're just sitting outside someone's house watching, or weird behaviors that wouldn't normally be in their daily. But full moon in Scorpio is incredibly powerful and incredibly dark. And like you said, obsessive, and weird, dark obsessions can kind of come up to the surface. And I don't know why, but like the word stalker just like came into my mind. So like, be careful.
Yeah,
about stalking people.
Me a little bit. Don't stalk anyone. Don't
stalk anyone. No.
Don't get obsessed with stuff. Be obsessed with yourself, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Don't be obsessed with anything. Another way to use that I'm doing quote signs, obsessive energy of Scorpio is that another word for that is like real good focus. Just use a real good focus of Scorpio. And when that becomes too much, that's when it becomes obsessive. You don't want to go there. Don't go there. Like, all signs have too much, too little of their energy, and too much Scorpio is definitely stalker vibe and obsessive. Bring it back to the middle, and that's when we really use it in the best way possible.
True. Very good. The 28th through the 30th, we have Mars is coming conjunct with our friend Neptune. So Neptune gets a lot of play this month, and with Venus conjunct Neptune at the beginning of the month, a couple things sextile, and then now Mars is going to be lining up with our good pal here, and that is activating, taking action on, being driven towards, really leaning into our intuition, our spirituality, our healing, feeling, compassionate energetics. So this could be a little bit confusing of a day or a couple days on where to put your energy. I don't know where the car is driving to. It's almost like you're driving in a fog. And now you have to turn on your navigational system and just kind of let the autopilot take over. So trust in spirit these days, or your guides, or your angels, or God, or whatever your beliefs are. This is a great day to lean into that energy, because it's going to feel foggy on how fast to go, which way to go. Do I turn right? Do I turn left? I don't know where to apply my energy. The 28th to the 30th. I can see that's going to be just kind of a general confusion for everybody.
Yeah. Then we have on the 29th, Venus entering Taurus, one of its homes. Venus belongs actually in Taurus and in Libra. It has 2 homes.
2 homes. Yep.
Yeah. And this is just really, really lovely. Yeah, I'm just really looking forward to this. Like enjoying like Taurus is all about senses and enjoying stuff, and Venus is all about
Feeling good.
I just want to walk around in like a flower field.
Yeah, feeling good, planting stuff, planting your seeds. This is a great time to get in the dirt. Go get some new house plants. Maybe you tidy up your house plants that have been needing some love. Just feeling good, watching some movies, snuggling, baking, cooking,
beautifying
your home, getting new bed sheets, right? New bedding. Just all the things that bring you so much joy and pleasure, make you feel good. Getting your garden equipment out.
Yeah.
That just sounds so nice.
Yeah.
I love that. That's the end of the month, the 29th, and then the 30th, our last one. Venus is going to be square to our pal Pluto. So we're going to end the month with a little bit of a tension between the way we need to transform, what we need to transform, and what our values are. So we may not want to give up our comfy things, but maybe Pluto in Aquarius is demanding that we do give up that comfy thing for the sake of the community. So maybe we do have to go volunteer, but we really wanted to sit and watch Netflix and chill, right? But so we do have to go out and be with the people and do the community transformation stuff. And our values, or what we really want to do, is not that. So that's where some tension can show up at the end of the month. And then Mars is also entering Aries that day. So we start off the month with an April Fool's with Mercury going retrograde, and we end the month with Mars entering into Aries. And I feel like, I don't know, that's just going to be shaking some shit up there too, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not like a slow finish to the month.
No. This isn't like an easy, slow wrap up. This is like a, hey, I'm here. What are we doing? It's like he got there late to the party, but he thinks he's, totally fine and on time, and everyone's starting to fall asleep. And Mars is like, no. We're just getting started, right? This is like your drunk friend who needs to go home. Like, no, dude, we just had a whole month of transformative shit. We don't actually need you right now. No.
But Mars is coming.
But it doesn't matter, because Aries doesn't care, and neither does Mars.
Yeah. And that's interesting, because then we have Venus going into her home, Taurus, and then we have the day after Mars going into his home in Aries.
Yeah. I love that they're both in their homes.
Same day almost.
Respectively. But it's
go home.
I don't know if it's going to feel the best for us personally. It's great that they're in their homes. Cool. But it might not energetically feel the greatest after we went through all that stuff in April. So we'll have to see. I hope you guys all make it through April all right. This is definitely quite transformative this month. And my advice to you is to focus on your breath and focus on your core needs, and make sure your core needs are met: water, food, sleep, and then journaling and physical activity and, play and having fun. And then after that, just kind of go with the flow. Take it easy. It's going to be a really rocking month. This is, this is some kind of energy.
Yeah, like, take care.
Right? It's like, I wish you all the best, and let us know how you fare, because we would like to hear from you and make sure you're all okay. through this crazy month. Solar eclipses and Jupiter and Uranus having a
Yes. So I feel like we have 4 really big things. We have the solar eclipse. We have Jupiter conjunct Uranus. We have Sun square Pluto, and then with the full moon in Scorpio. Like these 4 things are pretty big on their own, and they're all happening in not a huge time span. So
all during a Mercury retrograde in Aries. Excellent.
Yeah.
And it's my solar return tomorrow. My son turns 1. My other son turns 15. All during this, I don't know if you remember 15, but that was a tough year for me. So I'm curious how this is going to show up for him. I haven't checked his solar return chart yet. We'll see. Well, good luck, everybody. We wish you all the best. We're sending you all energy that is hopefully calm-ish, sort of, or that if there are massive transformations for you, that you make it through them okay. And that you can work with the energy to the best of your ability. And we hope that this transit reading helped you in some way. I just kept laughing. I felt not very helpful this month when I just kept laughing at the transits, but I think that's all you can do sometimes when there's a lot of stuff coming up, is just go, all right, whatever. We'll just do our thing.
Yep.
So good luck to everybody, and thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate it, and we can't wait to catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Ram and Goat Astrology. You can support the show by buying us a coffee or a tea. Link in the show notes. Your financial support means the world to us. Join us next time.